After performance test, the next is screen. The screen of flagships this year have two types: 4K 120Hz high-res high refresh and 2K 165Hz high refresh gaming. Except models we tested, there are other screen options. After all, there are over $1,500. For example, Y9000K recently updated the Exploration Edition of Mini LED. Zephyrus has 4K 120Hz option. As for color, most brands choose wide gamut screen. Helios, Zephyrus and GE76 are 100% DCI-P3. X17 and Blade 17 are 100% Adobe RGB. Y9000K and Omen 17 are 100% sRGB. From the tested, their coverage conformed to nominal, all above 96%. Is screen with wide gamut better than sRGB? It depends, because the color management of window is poor. When mainstream sRGB content is displayed on wide gamut, supersaturation occurs. To avoid this, professional color management is needed. There are three main color management schemes. One is color correction file. The color is accurate in Adobe. But if you need a Windows desktop with no color correction files, supersaturation can't be avoided. The second is gamut switching. The screen can be directly limited to the sRGB. In case of professional apps or wide gamut content, just switch to the corresponding gamut. So, supersaturation can be avoided. But without calibration file, accuracy wouldn't be so good. The third is gamut switch with calibration file. Unfortunately, few laptops have it. But Zephyrus does. Good color accuracy in test. Average delta E 0.74, and the highest 1.47. GE76 can switch gamut by MSI True Color and sets limits in different modes. But the lack of calibration file makes so-so accuracy. As the Adobe RGB coverage isn't 100%, average delta E 2.36, and the highest 8.35. The display P3 is DCI P3 mode of Gamma 2.6. Its average delta E 1.79, and the highest 5.16. Its sRGB was the best, average delta E 0.87, and the highest 1.57. Other wide gamut screens don't have any color management, so you need to solve it by yourself. Tested in corresponding gamut, X17 and Blade 17 have good accuracy, average delta E less than 2, and the highest less than 3. But Helios isn't good, average delta E 3.03, and the highest 6.5. Y9000K and Omen 17 use sRGB screen, so they're okay without color management. It has X-Rite Color Assistant which corresponds to the calibration file. So its average delta E is 0.7, and the highest 2.62. Omen 17's average delta E is 1.2, and the highest 4.47. It's enough for gameplay. Helios has the best brightness with Mini LED. The highest partial brightness reached 1130 nits in HDR and full screen brightness 830 nits. Can be used as a lamp at night, and its partition dimming offers complete darkness when showing black images. Its contrast is the best, but quite hot with high brightness. 5 minutes in the highest brightness, the temperature reached 49.8. Among traditional LCD laptops, Zephyrus was the worst, only 311 nits, not bad. X17 and GE76 were the best, both over 500 nits. The rest were about 450 nits. Apart from Helios with Mini LED, others all use DC dimming. Helios uses 1250 Hz high-frequency PWM dimming of full brightness. Zephyrus, GE76 and Y9000K all have overdrive with shortest response. BTW were about 8 milliseconds. 5.4 milliseconds GTG for ROG, 7.1 for MSI, and 6.2 for Legion. But stress can cause overshoot and ghosting. Under no stress, Y9000K was the fastest, with BTW 7.9 milliseconds and GTG 12.1 ms. Then was GE76, with BTW 9.2 and GTG 13.9. Others have BTW 10 milliseconds and GTG 14 ms. They have similar screen. Helios's Mini LED has excellent brightness and contrast, but it has obvious cons. Accuracy and thermals aren't good. X17 and Blade 17 have good screens, but no color management. ROG and MSI 76 have unique color management, which are practical, but not perfect. Y9000K and Omen 17 use 2K 165Hz screen of sRGB. Their color are better for high FPS games. Okay, next is disassembly. Most are easy to disassemble. Just remove screws and pry the cover. Blade 17 even doesn't have snaps. That's nice. X17 and Helios were more complex. To change X17's memory and SSD, just remove back cover. But for dust clean, you need to remove screws, cables, exhaust vent, and turn the motherboard over. Helios still uses the old design of an quick release. To change memory and SSD, just remove quick release. But for full disassembly, you need to remove many screws and cables and hidden ones under battery. Then remove battery and hard disk, you can see its interior. That's a big trouble. Then let's compare their structure. Each one's thermals are relative to the height. Blade 17 and Y9000K both use big VC. It improves heat transfer and reduces height. X17 is the best, with 4 fans and VC plus liquid metal. Blade 17 also has 4 fans, but 2 small fans are placed below. Their function is to cool the base panel. Legion is a bit conservative. Regular dual fans. Helios is special because it's the thickest and heaviest. But it also has a VC, liquid metal for CPU, and metal fans. Volume and weight weren't limited, so various thermals were added. Zephyrus is the only slim laptop without a VC. But air inlet of base panel is an innovative design. It solves the cooling for slim laptop. Its thermals are good, 6 heat pipes, dual fans and liquid metal. GE76 is the middle size with much thermal space. 6 heat pipes, dual fans and thermal paste. Its thermals of CPU and GPU are independent. Those won't interact in dual stress test. Thermals of Omen 17 are the most ordinary. 4 heat pipes, dual fans, with 1 heat pipe on the back. Just the plus version of Omen 16. Apart from good thermals, Flagship also has good scalability. This general of Intel mobile CPU Tiger Lake H45 supports PCIe Gen 4, and the rate of DMI bus doubles. So it supports several PCIe Gen 4 SSDs. Helios and Zephyrus have 3 SSD slots. Helios has one 2.5 SATA and 2 M.2. Such bulk can easily do that. While Zephyrus is different, 2 regular M.2 above the battery, another one is on the left. It's the only one with 3 slots. Others are similar. All have 2 M.2. As to the rate of stock hard disk, Helios and Zephyrus are the best. Both use PCIe Gen 4 PM9A1 to form RAID 0. Helios uses 2, and RAID 3. Sequential read-write were over 10,000. Maybe because the limit of DMI bus's bandwidth. Zephyrus's RAID 0 didn't show the pros of 3 SSD, so Helios was better. X17 also uses 2 PCIe Gen 4 PM9A1 to form RAID 0. But those are PCIe Gen 3 customized by Dell. So it didn't perform well. Its main pros are SLC capacity and write rate out of cache. 5,000 within cache, and 3,000 out. The rest laptops use single PCIe Gen 4 PM9A1. Only capacity is different, and actual rate are almost the same. As to memory, there isn't big difference. Most have dual memory slots and maximum 64 gigs. Only Zephyrus uses 16 gigs of soldered memory and 16 gigs of slot. Only one can be replaced. Maximum 48 gigs. We also tested the memory speed. X17, Helios and Blade 17 were all in Gear 2 of 3200 MHz. Benchmarks were similar, although Zephyrus was in Gear 2 of 3200 MHz. Its read-write and latency were both the worst. Omen 17 is in SAGV mode. Its frequency and DRAM all changed. Latency was better than others. Only 82 nanoseconds. Read-write were similar. Default of Y9000K and GE76 is Gear 2 of 3200 MHz, and it can be changed in BIOS. If changed to Gear 1 of 2933 MHz, read-write will slow down, latency will reduce. It's better for high FPS games. Finally, the battery. GE76 capacity is the highest 99.9 watt-hours, the maximum allowed on the plane. Blade 17 is the slimmest and fans need certain space, so its capacity is 70.5. Y9000K and Omen 17 are about 80, X17 and Zephyrus are about 90. Finally, Helios must be criticized. The heaviest body and second to the lowest capacity show its unreasonable design. But battery life is more affected by optimizations. Larger battery doesn't mean longer time. In PC Mark X Modern Office, X17 and Omen 17 were the worst, lasted only 3 hours. Too short. Helios lasted 3 hours 37 minutes, a bit better than those two. Zephyrus, GE76 and Y9000K performed better with 5 hours 33 minutes, 6 hours and 6 hours 6 minutes. Those can still last some time without adapter. Let's start the thermals test. Here are the testing conditions. 25 room temperature and a VX512 shutdown. Stress test lasted 30 minutes. All the laptops worked in performance mode. If one has hypercooling of fans maxed out, then dual stress again and list it separately. First is stress FPU. There are 3 levels. Helios, Zephyrus, Y9000K and Omen were similar. Their TDP were about 90 watts. Only Helios worked under 100, other 3 laptops worked under 88. Considering Helios size, its performance was unsatisfying. And Y9000K's i7 was even 0.1 GHz higher than Zephyrus's i9. Unreasonable. The middle level is X17. 76 watts and 99. Among 20mm laptops, it's good. The third level is Blade 17 and GE76. About 65 watts. Blade 17 sets a conservative power limit. It finally sustained under 75. It still can be improved. GE76 performed not well because of only 2 heat pipes and reached 95. Next is Stress GPU. X17, GE76, Y9000K and Omen 17 all have full power GPU of 165 watts. Only X17 worked under 83.5. Other laptops worked under 75. The middle level is Zephyrus with RTX 3080 of 140 watts and worked under 77.7. It's the slimmest and its TDP was the lowest, only 130 watts and 74.2. In dual test, in performance mode, Helios's overall TDP was the highest, 65 and 160 watts. The heavier ones GE76 and Omen were better with 58 and 150 watts, 69 and 140 watts. Omen 17's GPU didn't reach 150 because of dynamic boost bug. I got beta BIOS from Omen 17, and it could sustain at 63 and 150. But this BIOS is still not released. Next is Y9000K and X17. Y9000K worked at 45 and 150 watts with. X17 sets a 30 watts limit for CPU. It should have reached 165 by dynamic boost, but because of 84 throttling, GPU only reached 152 watts. Then comes Zephyrus and Blade 17. Their GPU aren't full power. In dual test, Zephyrus was at 50 and 125 watts, and Blade 17 at 45 and 110. Blade 17 CPU was at 80 and GPU 70. It should be 20 watts more at least. Then we did extra test with hypercooling. Only X17's GPU handled thermal throttling and raised TDP. Other 3 didn't have extra TDP boost. The highest TDP was still Helios, GE76, X17, and Zephyrus. As to exterior temperature, Omen 17 and Blade 17 are best in performance mode. Omen 17's highest temperature was only 37.2 due to its 30mm body. Blade 17 was more surprising. It's the slimmest but also the coolest. 38.6 the highest temperature, so the design of 4 fans worked. Helios, GE76 and Zephyrus didn't perform well. Helios's highest temperature was 42.3, and many parts were hot. Considering its heavy body, that's very disappointing. GE76 has the same problems. Its highest temperature was 43.4, and many parts were hot too. Zephyrus is special for its design of lifting keyboard and letting air in. So its keyboard temperature was low. Its highest one was only 40. But its palm rest was too hot. The left one was 39, and we felt obvious heat during use. X17 and Y9000K performed bad. X17's highest temperature reached 49.4, high temperature area was in upper center. Y9000K's highest temperature was 49, high temperature area was near right side. So arrow keys were hotter. In hypercooling mode, their exterior temperature reduced obviously by 3 to 5 commonly. The best one was Helios. This big one finally leveraged its power. Its highest temperature was 33. Arrow keys and palm rest reduced to room temperature, and we didn't feel any heat. As to the noise, X17, Zephyrus and Blade 17's noise were low in performance mode and were all about 51 decibels. Other 4 laptops were about 54 decibels. They were all noisy in hypercooling mode, except X17 could sustain at 53.4 decibels. especially Helios, which was over 60 decibels. Here are noise records. You can just feel it. To sum up briefly, companies show own abilities in thermals of flagship. So these laptops' thermals are all not bad. Thermals are more affected by volume, weight and company's adjustment. Helios and Omen 17 are traditional heavy laptops with the best tuning and exterior temperature. But that also makes them cumbersome. GE76 is slimmer than those two, so its exterior temperature is a bit poor. But its tuning is still on the best level. X17 and Y9000K realize good tuning with slim body, but their exterior temperature is not good. Zephyrus and Blade 17 were designed for low TDP and reduced keyboard temperature by their own design. But the high temperature of Zephyrus's palm rest still needs improvements. Okay, after all of these tests, let's give them awards. First is X17R1 from Alienware. I award the most sacred flagship to it. The reason is simple, that it's the most expensive one, and Alienware's status and influence for consumers can't be surpassed by any other brand. Back to this laptop, it has a high-quality screen and mechanical keyboard with nice feeling. Among gaming laptops whose height are 21mm, it's the only one has a full-power RTX 3080 of 165W compared with last year's M17. It's slimmer and has better thermals and tuning. Its internal scalability and lights were improved. This product was carefully made by Alienware. Its cons are obvious: too heavy body and adapter, high exterior temperature and inconvenient back ports. Next is Predator Helios from Acer. I award it the most traditional flagship, because among these major companies, it's the only one that still makes heavy flagship. Horizontal tests should have more heavy ones, such as MSI's GT series, Alienware's 51M series. In an era of pursuit for height of gaming laptops, it's a pity that those all ended. Its design is just as traditional heavy gaming laptops. It uses luxurious thermals such as VC, liquid metal and metal fans. Its actual thermals and tuning were the best, but the increase of performance didn't match its volume and weight. In addition, its 4K version doesn't have MUX, which affects the FPS during gameplay. Another feature is its mini LED screen. Although it wasn't adjusted very well, its 1000 nit brightness and partition dimming are rare among major flagship laptops. We don't know how long will this heavy flagship last, just treasure it. The third one is Zephyrus from ROG. I award the most innovative flagship to it. ROG was the first one to open cover to set air inlet and keeps improving it. It opened bottom case at first, then it opened base panel and moved keyboard downward. Now it lifts keyboard and set air inlet. ROG keeps innovating and making progress. This design helps Zephyrus realize good thermals with slim body and control the keyboard temperature. And it also has super capacity SSD and calibration file as pros. But its cons were obvious too. Its left palm rest was too hot, and skin-like coat was easy to be dirty. I hope its next generation solved these problems and more innovation is also necessary. The fourth one is Blade 17 from Razer. I award the most delicate flagship to it. Exterior is its greatest feature. It's the slimmest one with the height 20mm. Without garish RGB side lights, its body is only pure black and a little green. Not for ultimate performance, it's only for devoted fans of Razer. It also has a high-quality screen with touch control, and the coolest exterior among slim gaming laptops due to its unique 4-fan design. However, forming body technology of CNC largely added its weight, and short key travel made its typing feel terrible, which made it not perfect during use. The fifth one is Raider GE76. I award it the most balanced flagship. It's not the best one, but it balanced volume, weight, tuning and exterior temperature. It has high FPS in gameplay and rich BIOS functions. Only it has a wide gamut screen with gamut switch. Experts can leverage more power than default, but it has poor CPU thermals and battery during gameplay. It's usually compared with GP76, because their chassis are similar, and GP76 is the cheaper one. Ignoring RGB, Type-C and quality, only considering their game experience, the ultimate GP76 resembles it. The sixth one is Lenovo Legion Y9000K. After thinking, I award it the most convenient flagship, because other flagships all have some obvious defects like Helios's Mux, Blade 17's keyboard feeling and Zephyrus's palm rest temperature. But Y9000K's defects are the most unobvious, like inconvenient ports, hot keyboard and heavy adapter, which are minor problems. Consumers can accept them, and its tests were also the most convenient without any situation that needed debug. Of course, its pros aren't outstanding among flagships. Since its Exploration Edition isn't available yet, its screen is average among these 7 laptops. Its tuning has no advantage over heavy laptops, and it's not the only one that has PD charge. In short, like other products of Lenovo, its best feature is not having obvious defects. If you are a computer novice who don't know your demands and just want to buy a flagship one, it may be not the best choice, but definitely not bad. The last one is OMEN17 from HP. I award the most affordable flagship to it. The most simple exterior, strange place of power button, no numpad, big and heavy adapter and average screen and CPU among these flagships. Although it has so many defects, considering its price advantage, those can all be ignored. Meanwhile, due to its big and heavy size, it did better in thermals and tuning than many slim flagships. For consumers who care about price, this is the most good value one. If you want a flagship with the least money, you can only choose it. To be honest, after many single tests, this time's contrast makes me feel enjoyable. Today, making flagship gaming laptops needs aspiration. Horizontal tests of them also needs more courage. The workload is heavy. Please hit like and subscribe. I think it deserves them. In all, thanks for watching and I appreciate it. If you want to watch more like this, please leave messages. We'll adjust our video form by your feedback and try to make this program better. Share information and provide guidance. This is Biba Laptops, and I'm Jawan. See you in the next video.